Measles cases are rising across Canada and Alberta.
Our Nolan Hehir sat down with an expert to discuss why it's spreading and what you can do to stay safe.
In the last couple of weeks, the amount of measles cases in Canada and Alberta specifically has seen a sharp increase. Measles hasn't been an issue in Canada since the late 80s. So what's causing this sharp uptick in cases? What can the average person do to stay safe? And what does this all mean? I spoke to an expert in the field to get answers.
I sat down with Dr. Lenora Saxinger, an infectious diseases doctor and professor of medicine at the University of Alberta, to talk about the measles situation in Canada and Alberta.
So what actually is measles?
Measles is a viral infection, and I think a lot of people think of it as being a kind of harmless kid rash illness, but actually it's a whole body infection, which means that people can have, the fever and the rash, but also a lot of other complications, including problems like secondary pneumonias, encephalitis. And in a minority of cases, it can be very serious.
Why has it been spreading in Canada as of late?
So, we haven't had measles spreading in the community like this since before 1998. We had elimination status of measles, which meant anytime there was an outbreak of measles in Canada, you could pretty much trace that it had been brought in, and then there was a string of cases and a little flare, and then that would go away. And so we haven't had this kind of continual transmission for many years. And I think that, the last big year of transmission was in 2011 when there was about 750 cases. Last year, there's been over 5,000 cases already. So it's a very, very significant difference. And really, it has to do with a combination of overall vaccination rates being lower than is really needed for measles, because you want 95% plus of the population to be immune to prevent transmission, because it's extremely contagious. So waning of the background kind of immunization. And also, when it was introduced into Canada, it was introduced into a kind of network of communities that had very low vaccination rates. So wherever we have a pocket of very low immunity, we can have larger flares of infection.
What can the average person do to stay safe?
No one wants to get measles because it can be miserable, even if it's just a nuisance infection. And for some people, it can be very severe. The good news is the technology that we have, which is a fairly well-established vaccine that's been around a long time. Usually it's the MMR vaccine, it's a combination product, is highly effective at preventing measles. And so people who've received 2 doses of MMR vaccine or a measles-containing vaccine are considered protected. And so if you know your immunization history and you've had 2 doses, you don't really have to worry any further. There's a fair number of people in the middle who are not sure if they've had 2 doses or not, where it's worth looking into, because you definitely would be eligible to get another dose of the vaccine. And people who, for one reason or another, have not been vaccinated are extremely highly likely to get measles if exposed. And so that's the group I think that really should be targeted in terms of education.
Thank you so much for taking the time to answer our questions. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks very much for having me.
To book a measles vaccine appointment and to be able to check your immunization records, you can go to myhealth.alberta.ca. This has been Nolan Hehir with 2nd Edition, and stay safe out there.